starting my side hustle today, this is what I would do. First, you have to figure out when you're gonna work on the side hustle, whatever it may be. And you have to figure out, do you have time for this? Otherwise, you're gonna have this idea for the side hustle and you're never gonna work on it because you don't have the time, and then you'll just feel guilty. And that's not ideal. And maybe you don't have time to work on it right now, and that's okay. Having a side hustle is a privilege. It's not something that if you don't have it, you're lazy, which I think is a huge misconception, but you have to find the time to work on it. You have to figure out what your open hours are. There are certain hours you're working, there are certain hours where you have to take care of people or yourself, and then there are the hours you have free. For me, I take each of these days on a sheet like this, so Monday through Friday, because I don't want to work on the weekends. And each of these days has a morning, evening, and afternoon section. So from this, these are the days I could possibly work on my side hustle. I'm gonna X out the afternoons because I'm always gonna be busy because I have a full-time job. And you can have a side hustle with your full-time job. You just have to figure out where in the chart it's gonna fit. Now, if you're just starting out, I would not recommend working on it every single day. Out of the time that's left on the calendar, so in this case, it's 10 squares, pick 2 of them that you're gonna work on your side hustle. So for me, I love Bachelorette in Paradise, and so I'm gonna enjoy that. And maybe I'll do some work while watching it, but it won't be my core side hustle day. So I'm gonna X out Monday and Tuesday evenings dedicated to The Bachelorette or Dancing with the Stars that is coming out now. So those are X'd out on my thing now. So now maybe you don't really wanna work Fridays evening, like you wanna go out and have fun, and maybe you wanna do that Thursday evening too. So that means we'll make Wednesday our work day. Scribble it in like this. Then if we look at our mornings, maybe I take a yoga class or I do something on Tuesday mornings, and so we won't work on the side hustle then, but I want to have enough space between the Wednesday day I work on it and my next session of working on it, if we're working on it 2 days a week. So I'll color in Friday, and we'll work on it Friday mornings as well. And maybe if we're feeling extra excited about the side hustle, we'll do it on Monday mornings as well. So we'll get up super motivated on Monday to tackle whatever we want our side hustle to be. So that is one way you can try to find time and figure out how it's gonna fit into your life. Now, typically in each of these scribbled out squares, you could work on it 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours. It just depends on how much time you want to devote to it. But figuring out a schedule for how it will fit in is ideal. And maybe you try this for a week and it doesn't work. Like maybe you always do deployments on Thursdays, and so Fridays you always have to make sure and verify things, and it ends up being a really busy day. So maybe you switch, instead of doing Fridays, you'll stick to just Monday and Tuesdays. Your schedule can change. You can also try to fit things into what you're already doing. So say on Thursdays, before you go out with friends, you go for a walk, and on the walk, maybe you're thinking and brainstorming ideas about the content that you want to create. That totally counts. Figuring out ways to add stuff to your life or add the side hustle to your life versus like removing the fun things from life to do the side hustle thing, that's ideal. So instead of taking away the walk you love to do, add something to that. Then eventually, if you become passionate about your side hustle and you really enjoy working on it, you'll start to eliminate maybe some of the things that you used to do, and you'll just work on the side hustle instead. So that may mean if I'm really excited about my side hustle, I will only watch one night of Bachelor in Paradise instead of 2. Whatever it is, you have to be open to changing your schedule and being flexible if you want the side hustle to work. If you try to fit the side hustle into this narrow square of your life where you're always gonna work on it this day, and if you don't work on it, then that's done, you've ruined the week, it's not gonna work. Speaking of being open, GoDaddy is having an event called Open 2021, and it's going on right now. They're running sessions loaded with best practices for people running their own side hustles and their own businesses. Particularly, I'm excited about the search optimization session because it's key for the YouTube channel. If I want my content to be found, I have to use the right keywords, specifically the keywords that my audience is using. So this session is ideal. If you want to check it out, there's a link down in the description. Now, it's important to note that the side hustle is not a single side hustle. It's multiple. It's side hustles. Just like you want to diversify your investments, you want to diversify your income. This means you want to have short-term and long-term projects. A short-term project might be a month long or 2 weeks long, while a long-term project might take you 6 months or so. That's how I organize my side hustle. I'll usually have a longer project, which might be creating a course, creating something like 30 days of code. Usually it's creating at least an hour or 2 hours of content spread across a bunch of different videos. It's a large initiative where we're trying to teach something that's a big concept, not just how does modulo work. The short-term projects usually have to do with social media. So it might be a YouTube sponsorship for a single video. It could be a TikTok sponsorship, an Instagram sponsorship. It might be creating a set of TikToks or a set of Instagram stories for a particular client. It might be reviewing content for a third party. So maybe they want to release a set of quizzes or a set of challenges and they want someone to review them. They want a subject matter expert for consultation. That could be short or long. It just depends on what the project is. But you don't want everything to be a long-term project or everything to be a short-term project. Having the mix lets you mix it up. So you're not always working on the same thing. That keeps the side hustle or side hustles fresh. And your clients will be varied. Some will ask for something in a day, and others will ask for something over a period of time. And you just have to show progress. If you're just getting started though, having that first project can feel difficult. You don't know what to work on first. Maybe you love to bake and you want to create your own bakery, or you want to create a bakery book, a cooking book. It's hard to figure out where you would start at that. When you have clients, this does become easier because usually you'll say, hello client, I want to work on this thing, or the client might come to you and say, hey, we want this piece of content. You agree on whatever the SOW or the statement of work is, and then you get contracted to do it. But when you're just starting out, what I would recommend is come up with a single project idea. So this might mean 10 recipes as a new college student. So these are things that are maybe easy to cook in a dorm-like space, and that's your first set of recipes that you'll come up with, and you'll make a YouTube video about each of the recipes, cooking them in a small space. Having a general project or thing, whether it could be, I'm gonna create a series about Docker, or I'm gonna create a series about automation and the different way things can be automated. Whatever the series is, it should have at least 10 to 15 pieces, maybe even more, of content that you can create. Then over a period of 6 months, create that content. Build your brand by creating it. Then when a client comes along, you can show them your library of content, and it builds a sense of trust with your client. They know you can deliver on a piece of work. They'll be able to see the engagement with your content, and it can give you some credibility. Another thing to remember is mindset. So be patient with yourself. Not many people do side hustles, or someone might try a side hustle for 2 months and then they stop. The reality is you have to be patient. You are doing something new. You are doing something outside of your comfort zone, and it's important to recognize that and not get too stressed out about it. It's really easy to get frustrated, especially when your accountant's phone number is disconnected, but you have to understand most people don't have to worry about these problems. These are side hustle problems. You signed up for it. And doing the side hustle, you are signing up for this whole other world of stress that you don't even know exists. And you just have to let it be. If there's something you can do to fix the issue, then you should plan a time to worry about it and do it. Or if you can do it right now and fix it, that's great, just do that. But you have to accept when there is nothing that can be done, and you just have to wait and see. And that is hard to accept. Another way to think about it is to just have intense optimism that it will work. Because if you don't think it will work, then how are you going to convince clients that you know what you're doing? Just imagine the people that came up with this button. They could have called it follow. They could have called it something else. And they chose subscribe, and they had such confidence that that would stick. And, well, it has. But just to make sure the text changes when you hit go from subscribe to subscribed with an ED, I need you to click it. They may have had all of the confidence in the world to choose this wording for the button, and let's just make sure they didn't mess it up. So I need you to click the button and verify it manually. Now, it's a whole other thing to jump from your side hustle part-time to your side hustle full-time. My side hustle, or my small business, Blondie Bites LLC, is still a part-time gig for me. And there are quite a few reasons why I have not made the jump. The business is successful, it is profitable, but working for yourself full-time adds a whole other level of stress that I do not want to encounter yet. It just depends on what success looks like to you and how you want to live your life. If you work at a full-time job and you're working for a big employer with lots of employees, there are a lot of opportunities for mentorship and community. And that's something that's harder to find if you're working on your side hustle full-time and it's your business. It's no longer a side hustle, it is your life. It's also important to note that your side hustle does not need to make millions. It can be just enough to get you out of debt. It could be just enough to buy you the beach house in Wildwood, or it could just be some extra savings. Your side hustle is what you make it, and it should be fun. Otherwise, you're not gonna spend time on it. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy coding.